Hi, this is Mashnu, and here is example number 3 of the positional sacrifices. Now, if you would like to do the training, then you can pause the video now and think about what you would do here with white. What would you play and why? And I'll continue the explanation in a few seconds. Alright, so this is a fragment from the game between the American Grandmaster Gata against Patrick Wolf, played in 1991. And what happens here actually is about this pawn on b7. The pawn is under attack, and white could take now on b7 right now, but then black could trade this bishop for the knight, and then we would lose actually a very strong knight. Let me show you a variation. Knight takes b7, bishop takes b7, trade of rooks, and then taking on b7, and then the pawn on c5 falls. And here we reach a situation that, well, is actually more or less equal. Both sides have a passive bishop, both have a let's say two light pieces that are active, and active rooks, a pass pawn for white, but a pawn majority for black on the king side. It's not very clear. Let's return to the game, because what Gata did in this position is really wonderful. He sacrificed the exchange on d5. Perhaps you saw this move, and perhaps you saw even what the compensation is that white gets after the sacrifice. The idea is actually that white still wants to take later on b7, with the difference that without the light squared bishop of black, the c6 square becomes reachable for this pawn. So we eliminate the bishop on d5 that was controlling the c6 square. So now the game continues with knight takes d5 and knight takes b7. Now the rook on d8 is attacked. It moved to b8, and the pawn advanced to c6. The knight on d5 was attacked now. This knight went to e7, attacking the pawn on c6. And here comes again a very beautiful move by Gata. He played here knight to d4. The pawn on d5, I'm sorry, on e5 is pinned, and white is threatening to enter with this knight on this important square e7. If then the king goes to f7, then there is bishop c4. So black didn't want to allow this to happen. So what he did is he took the knight on d4, knowing that then the rook on b8 would fall. Rook takes b8, rook takes b8. Now if we count the pieces now, we still see that black is a piece up. But if we count the active pieces, we can say that black has 3 active pieces and white has also 3 active pieces. This bishop on g7 is not doing anything. So that means that white has a much better position because of this pass pawn. Actually a connected pass pawn, if this one can advance later. And the pass pawn of black doesn't have any future still, because the d3 square is controlled by white. Well, here after rook takes b8, of course black is threatening to take this important pawn, so the pawn is advanced to c7. Rook to c8. Now what to do? Perhaps you would like to pause the video again. The pawn on c7 is under attack. What to do here with white? I'll show you what happened in the game. A very nice move, knight to d6. With knight to d6, white doesn't only attack the rook, but controls the f7 square. So here after rook takes c7, white gave a check on b8. The king cannot escape, so something must be placed in between on c8. Knight to c8, knight takes c8. Now we have material equality, but a much superior position for white. White is not only threatening to move this knight away to d6 with check and then going to f5, very strong place for the knight, but also much more direct, this threat of knight to b6 check and then capturing on a4. And that's actually how the game ended. It had a very sudden end here. Black played f5 with the idea of activating this bishop, but then the check on b6 came, and after king to f7, knight takes a4, and here black resigned. It was hopeless. And also, if black would not have done this but would have tried to save the knight, then actually still white has a much better position. Even if the knight goes sorry, for example to c5, it would be a very logical place to go, because then this pawn can perhaps later advance. We have knight to d6, and after king to e7, knight f5 check. And you see we are playing now, after this the king moves, we are playing with two light pieces against one light piece, because still this bishop is very passive. So well, of course we need some technique and to win this this position, but it's not that difficult. Bishop to c4 would be, for example, a good move, attacking the king one more time. Where to go? To g6 perhaps. What can we do here? Well, there is a tactic already with rook to c8 here, because there is a fork on e7. So rook to c8, if rook takes rook, then knight e7, and we capture the rook, or even perhaps there's even a mate in net here, because the king cannot go away, so it has to go to h6. Do we have a checkmate? Yeah, we do. Yes, with bishop to bishop to f7 and then checkmate on f5 with the knight, whatever black does. Oh wow, this is a beautiful one. So that means that black cannot take here the rook on c8, and after moving the rook wherever it goes, then c5 would fall. So it's a very difficult situation for black already here. Well, if you want to do some more calculating and exercising, you can examine this position and find some more variations about what happens after knight to c5. But well, anyway, the purpose of this video is to explain you the consequences of this exchange sacrifice in the beginning. So I'll return to that point actually here when white takes on d5, with the idea of eliminating the light squared bishop of black. So after we take here, we have control over the c6 square, and we can create this dangerous pass pawn. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one and you liked it. Then I wish you a great day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.